two, three.
Let's go. I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. The music would let you know it is a Temple Ticker episode. I'm looking for the Pharaoh, though. I don't know. I'm not sure where he's at. You need to watch the YouTube video to understand. We've got a 80s punk rocker.
What's up, Richie? I'm here. What are you talking about?
Who? You are. They don't call that platinum, right? Is that platinum? Is that platinum? That is blonde. My goodness. I love it.
It's a little yellow. I did it a little bit more yellow.
Well, it's all yellow according to Coldplay. What you have a birthday and now you're going to become a different person? Or are you having a quarter life crisis?
Well, I turned 30.
Oh, geez, never mind.
It is at least my third life crisis.
Yeah, middle age. You might as well buy a Porsche and start, go into the 18 to 25 singles wards and try and find yourself a sweet thing, right? That's how that goes. You turn 30, and everyone goes, "Yeah, that's so cringe. Please don't do that, Corey. Please don't do that." But really, why? Just cause?
Because I turned 30.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you.
I really do like it. Some people I go, it looks great, and in my brain I think that is the worst choice you could have possibly made ever. But not you. I like it.
Thanks. I probably won't do it again, but yeah, something special.
Sure. Already pre-celebrating. You're like, listen, I'm going to get tank top garments, so I'm going to go and get my my hair blonde. Going to get a tattoo of some sort of deep-rooted, no one understands Mormon some symbolism on your arm, so that it's a conversation piece and you can establish religious superiority. What? I'm sorry.
Seal of Melchizedek. That's what.
I actually don't know what that looks like. I heard that mentioned in a podcast. Is that the 8-point star? Is that the seal of Melchizedek?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's most prominently found in the San Diego Temple.
Yeah.
I don't know if the designer architects really meant it to be that. But people have kind of dug up into archaeology, and there's kind of some hieroglyphs of people who refer to Melchizedek, the king, and it uses that 8-pointed star. And so they've kind of made that connection.
So now I have to ask you a very real question. Do you already have this tattoo? Now, I recognize that your mom listens, so you can't tell me because she'd kill you. But blink if you already have that seal of Melchizedek tattoo. I'm looking. No, I didn't blink. Okay. All right. You're being 30, you're at least old enough to remember President Hinckley saying, "Don't put tarnishments on the temple of God." And now we're like, it's fine. Do it.
Well, I mean, the temple has a lot of seals of Melchizedek on it. So, yeah. You're just trying to be like the temple.
Yeah, if you're going to literally take on your temple or your body as a temple, then you have to. You don't actually have a choice. This isn't what we came here to talk about. Sorry, everyone. Happy birthday. I was going to sing This Month Is Such a Special One, and then I decided against it. So let's just talk temples, which is actually a better gift for Corey than if I actually got him something. He likes talking about temples and buildings of the church more than any sort of gift we could get him. So in a way, it's kind of a gift. Diving into it, a temple dedication, 208.
Yeah, the Farmington, Mexico temple was dedicated on my birthday, August 17th, Sunday. Elder Anderson was there to dedicate the temple. It's the second one in New Mexico. We talked about how this temple uses a lot of imagery from the Four Corners area, which is heavy in Navajo and Zuni heritage. So yeah, this is the second one in New Mexico.
Fairly remote area. One of the things that I loved from the dedicatory session, there's a picture of Elder Anderson and what I presume to be a Navajo elder. And I love that picture so much. You can see the love and dedication of the Navajo, I assume, brother of the church, and Elder Anderson. And I just wish I see stuff like that and it just makes me so happy. I hope we continue Not necessarily to build temples among tribal lands and things like that, but just embracing all people. Anytime we have that diversity in pictures, I just soak it up.
Yeah, this temple includes six stakes in the area. One of them is in Arizona, which is in the Navajo Nation, the Chinle, Arizona stake, which is a stake primarily of people of Navajo descent. Yeah, at the temple open house, they note that they had people there to translate Navajo as well as Spanish
Oh,
for
cool.
anyone who needed that and anyone who wanted explanation about the temple. Um, so there's that. I'm sure they'll have. I can't imagine they wouldn't have endowment ceremonies in Navajo as
Oh,
well.
for sure, for sure. Do you know? Because I know you can in some instances, you can go and listen to the dedicatory prayers. Do you know that
I don't know about listen, but definitely in the church news
they print it?
they have the printed.
I seem to
What do
think
you
in the back
think?
of my head that there's a place that they've recorded dedicatory prayers. If someone knows, contact at theculturalhall.com. I think in the last, you would be the one to know. So the fact that you're doubting it lets me know that I'm wrong already. But it seems to me the reason why I pointed up, I'd love to hear. I wouldn't understand a lick of it, but I would love to hear the dedicatory prayer in Navajo. That would just be,
Just the translation of
yeah,
it?
just the translation of it. I would, because I think it's just such a gorgeous language. So,
Yeah, what I hear
okay.
from people that served in this mission is that some of them learn a little bit Navajo, and they just talk about how it's a very descriptive language. How, um, like for example, the word scissors is like literally you just say two pieces of metal that shear together to cut something.
Hmm.
Like you have to describe things like that because there's no like translation for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, and this is also one for people planning road trips. So you can go to the Four Corners, did it. You can go check out the Farmington, New Mexico temple, and then you can finish by running on the same road that Forrest Gump ran on, and then you can be like, I'm done. It's all in the same general-ish area. So go and check that out.
Yeah, the Church News story also had a story about how the temple site was selected. Of course, it was a stake center from like the 1970s
Hmm.
there, but it talks about how the stake president, bought something as larger than it needed to be, and then they felt like selling off the rest, but they said, no, I think we should keep it. So that made it large enough for when a temple was announced that you could fit the temple and then a new stake center on the side. So.
And to people that are kind of the cynics or critics or whatever, one of the things that this temple in particular, we don't see this in all the areas, especially in Utah, but this is one that will save an immense amount of traveling time for the people in that stake. They would probably had to travel hours upon hours plus to
Yeah,
get
they either
there.
had to
Now
go to
they can,
Albuquerque
yeah,
or Monticello, Utah, which is a
yeah,
small temple.
in that guy's backyard in Monticello.
To
Have you been yet?
Monticello?
Yes.
No, I said I drove past once with my parents on the way down to Snowflake.
Next time, tell your parents, listen, we're going to turn right at the gas station, and then you'll be like, there's a temple, and then you'll be like, ah, old man, McPartland or whatever, and then it's literally like church, guy's barn, there's a temple, and you go, what? Why? You don't believe me. I know you
Okay.
don't believe me. I know
Yeah,
you've
go
seen it
there on
on
the
Google
way
Earth, and you think you
to
know.
Farmington.
Do it. Burley, Idaho.
Yeah, some temple dedications were announced for next year. This is the first slate of temples that are announced for 2026 to be finished. The Burley Idaho Temple was the first of these. They'll have an open house at the end of the year, November 6th to the 22nd, and then they'll have a dedication on January 11th. So they did not announce who would be doing that.
Hmm.
So it's interesting they're keeping that in reserve to whoever is
Burley
available, I
being
guess.
close enough, were we thinking President Nelson? Should I go out on that limb?
It's always possible. It'll be 101.
And
So,
that being what? That's 4 months or so. Yeah, he'd be 101.
or
And Burley's what?
maybe
Three
you'll have a
hours?
new fresh church president
Yeah, 3 hours. Is that what it
ready
would
for
be?
that. So, yeah,
What is Burley?
that's about it.
Salt Lake.
I
Okay.
would say
Okay.
so.
Yeah, they could do it. Stop overnight and get a lottery ticket in Malad, and then head over to Burley. Probably not what they're doing. Okay.
This
Uh,
will be the seventh temple in Idaho, and there's actually four more planned, so there's a total of 11 in Idaho currently under construction.
okay.
I drove for the 4th of July. I drove past the new one in Rexburg. That's literally on the same street as the current temple.
Hmm.
Right now, they're just putting up the steel beams and everything, but pretty soon that will begin to take shape.
And it's just monstrous, right?
Yeah, it's about the size of the Saratoga Springs temple,
Yeah.
which for Utah is like one of the larger.
but with the BYU Idaho now expanding, just continue to have more and more students there, right? It's growing. They get the sign, the life-size BYUI. It's basically foreshadowing into the future that, they're going to need it. So, okay.
There you go.
Okay. And then Coeur d'Alene is like not, they haven't even announced where the land is, or maybe they have, or maybe that's something that's coming up, but that's one of the other Idaho ones that's coming. So
Correct. Yeah.
it seems like, and I know we're going to go to the Philippines next, but it seems like we're announcing way quicker than we're getting to like groundbreakings and dedications. Like that, it seems unbalanced that way. Am I just not paying close enough attention?
No, I would say that's fair.
Okay.
We have about 30 temples announced per year under President Nelson. On a good year, there's about 20 that have a groundbreaking, and then there's probably like 10, sometimes 15 that get announced. So we're definitely growing that backlog. Um, but yeah,
But as we look at these that you've announced, we talk about Burley, Idaho. That's dedicated on the 11th of January, and then is it Alabang? Is that how you say it? January 18th,
Alabang.
Alabang.
Yeah.
So that's like one week. Then the next week, it seems to me that like for a little while, it should
I would say,
like
yeah, I would say 2026 is going to pick up in dedications, just because, it takes, a while now that there's been, what are we at, year 7 of President Nelson? That's about time when most of the temples that he's announced at the beginning are going to become completed. So we're kind of seeing that big bulge in the pipeline kind of come down.
let me
Um,
ask you this. I do want to talk about the Philippines. How many are in like either announced or in existence right now? It's three,
yeah, we are at, I already forgot. It's three.
like 385, right, or something like that. 387,
It's 382.
382. Here,
Hmm.
here is my non-realistic, but I would absolutely love it prediction. And then I
Okay.
promise I'll let you talk about Alabang, Philippines. President Nelson makes it to General Conference. Don't at me, everyone. He is 101 years old if he makes it to General Conference. Apparently not doing very well is sort of like the like underground thing. I mean, doing very well for 101 years old, but right, your body anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not trying to defend it. He's 101 years old almost, but gets up at the end of the last session of General Conference when he's been doing the temple announcements and goes, "The following places are to receive temples," and then just proceeds to list 118 cities. I would just love it if it's like, and in Utah, bum 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 boop up up, and just goes down, and his entire thing is just pronouncing 118 cities and countries, and then says, "It's been an honor to be able to, move the work forward, end testimony and be done."
And
That would
then
be epic.
that session, he passes away.
Yeah, and then that night, wasn't it? It was not too long after. How long ago was this? It's less than 10 years. It's in the time that we've been doing the cultural hall, where there was like apostle, and then prophet, right? Or prophet, apostle, or something like that. It was like
Yeah,
between
literally.
sessions, one of them, right?
Yeah, Richard G. Scott. They were just
Yes.
like, I think it was I think it was Saturday. Come in the afternoon, they're like, we'd like to recognize the passing of Richard
Yeah.
G. Scott.
Yeah. I mean, it's an
So,
epic way
yeah.
to go out, and it would be cool. And where we're not necessarily building them right away, why not announce 118? Scan this QR code.
I'm sure the temple department has like those locations pretty well scattered out, and they're
Yeah.
just like in the pipeline to be announced.
And what a
So,
cool legacy. So that then, Elder Oaks, that then would become President Oaks, assuming that that's how things go, could step in and go, and now it's time for perfection and availability to the temple or whatever
and
the
no announcements from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just is like, let's get
Just
these things happening. This is not what the focus is. It is a hard shift. Something about that to me. All right. Tell me about
yeah.
the Philippines temple. They dedicated on the 18th of
You're
January
welcome for
coming up.
indulging your fantasy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
You don't
Okay.
know. You will apologize.
Yeah, the Alabang Philippines Temple. This is the second one in the Manila area. It's pretty big. metro area. They'll have the open house from November 21st to December 13th, and then a dedication on January 18th, and Elder David Bednar will be there to do that. So this will be the fourth temple in the Philippines, and yet 10 more are announced so far or under construction. So,
And there are just hundreds of thousands of saints in the Philippines, right?
I mean, yeah, it's its own area. I think it's around a quarter million.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems to
so
me like that is a place, and maybe building there is difficult, or resources or something like that. But that to me, like there are 14 in total, but we only have four of them. That to me, it's like, come on, there are people, I don't know, waiting. It seems like a focus. Like Utah, okay, great. I love that we're going to have the Lehigh Temple. That's great. It'll bless the saints there. But maybe we take a little bit of the focus and go to these places where they can't get to it, as opposed to, I'd really like if it would be down Traverse Mountain from where I'm at, as opposed to on the other side of Traverse Mountain.
there we go. Um, this temple was announced in 2017 by President Monson. So that was the last
That's the Zimbabwe temple, right?
well, yes, that will be the last one dedicated. This was like that with that one and this one. Those there was like four announced his last or second to last conference.
Oh, interesting.
So this is one of them. So it's been, it's going to be, 9 years since it was announced. This temple is kind of in this business area. It's kind of this kind of business development. A
Hmm.
lot of big skyscrapers, a huge mall. I mean, not too unsimilar than Salt Lake City, right?
Okay.
Um, but like it's like a gated community you have to get into. It's really
Gee.
interesting. So it's just interesting that, here's all this like business and shopping, and then oh, here's the temple right there.
Wow.
Uh,
It is cool. It's cool to see, and you can find this in the links, and I want to give particular attention to how much you work on this. But man, it is cool to see the building of this temple in particular with the skyline and it adding to the skyline. Pretty rad.
sure, yeah. And then yeah. So we go to Zimbabwe. He's already
Yeah, let's
talked
do it.
about that. So
Harare.
this will be the last temple dedicated that President Monson announced. Harare. It will be the first temple in Zimbabwe. Um, Probably not the last, although there's not a second one announced yet. But it will be have an open house at January 22nd to February 7th, 2026, and then there'll be a dedication on March 1st, and Elder Gerrit Gong will be the one that'll be there.
Should we do, let's see, let's get through the groundbreakings and then we'll take a break when we get to construction updates, and we've got influencers talking about temples and updates to things that you've wondered, wait, what? That's still going on? What is happening? Tell me about the groundbreakings.
Yeah, the first one that happened was the Wellington, New Zealand temple on August 7th. Elder Taniela B Wakolo was there. It's going to be the third temple in New Zealand. We talked about how the Auckland one was dedicated earlier this year. This one also went through kind of the local media covered the approval process of the temple. It's a very small temple, only 14,000 square feet, but it's very tall for it. It has two spires. It's definitely going to stand out in the area right next to the bay. It's kind of in a suburb of Wellington. Um, and this is the very southern part of the North Island, so it will serve that area as well as the whole southern island as well until they get their own temple, which who knows how soon that'll be.
One of the things, and maybe they do this at all the temples, but I thought that this was cool. Everyone knows I'm super critical about groundbreakings because we're hauling in dirt that we're not breaking, blah blah blah. One of the pictures that you have for this particular temple is a shovel. It's very like chromed, and it's very celebratory. It's very like ceremonial kind of thing, but it has kind of etched in the metal the like the design, the artist's rendering of the temple. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of a fun
Yeah,
relic.
that's not too uncommon. Maybe you just haven't seen the pictures before.
Yeah, I always
Um,
just look at it and go, they're not even breaking the dirt, and then move along.
I have seen this before where they put that etching on there. Maybe a little break from tradition. They're not golden shovels.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of a plant. I'm sure it's happened before, but it is interesting that they did that.
And also too, just an aside, lots about the church in New Zealand, both good and bad, but there is lots of like not just about the temple, but like people kind of like talking about the like familial structure of the church and the influence of the church in New Zealand and all that. It's one of the things that comes through a lot when we do articles of news on those episodes. There is a ton of people, and I don't know if it's from Jacinda Ardern and now her being back in private or like what the deal is, but there seems to be a lot of discussion in a large public forum about the church in New Zealand. So this is just another part of it.
Yeah, maybe New Zealand Mormon moment, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. That's a lot of syllables, but I'll go with you on that.
Okay, the next groundbreaking that happened was the Winchester, Virginia Temple. That was the next weekend, August 9th. Robert M Davies was there to do that. This will be the second temple in Virginia. Um, and there's also two more that have been announced, one in um, Roanoke and the other one in Norfolk. So this one was definitely a surprise for me, that it was announced. It's kind of in the far DC suburbs. So I think it will kind of serve a growing community out there, as well as kind of Martinsburg, West Virginia, which I can't get over why they didn't put it in Virginia, West Virginia instead of Virginia, who still doesn't have any temples, and Virginia now has four.
Take that, West Virginia. Yeah,
So,
I just was searching. There are 96,748 Latter-day Saints in Virginia and four temples.
and the first one, Virginia, Richmond wasn't even announced until President Nelson in 2018.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
maybe something we don't know. Only 22 stakes too. Anyway, okay, we love
So,
you,
for the East
Virginia.
Coast, that's a lot.
Is it
Yeah.
okay? And maybe it's a bunch of people in DC, and I mean that's only one of the temples. That doesn't explain the other three. Let's go to my favorite one to say because I like to butcher it with an accent. Brazzaville. Brazzaville. I
I
don't know.
mean, it is a French-speaking country. That might not be too far away.
So maybe I
Um,
pretend to have a cigarette and go, "Is Brazzaville?
there we go.
Did you go to the Brazzaville temple?"
Yeah, they've announced a location, they released a rendering, and they announced a groundbreaking ceremony. So it will be located on a 1.5 acre site in Avenue de la République, in the Bakongo neighborhood.
Yeah, we're
Um,
crushing
s-
it.
so this neighborhood is where basically the seat of government is. There's the Parliament building, the presidential palace, and a lot of embassies as well. What's very interesting about this site, it is only a 3.3 mile crow fly distance from the temple in Democratic Republic of the Congo in Kinshasa. So for outside the United States, these are the closest temples in the world. Only South Jordan and Provo have closer temples. The two Provo temples are 2.3 miles apart, and the
Mhm.
ones in South Jordan are 3.1 miles apart. So these two temples are even closer than the St. George and the Red Cliffs temple.
Hmm. Hmm.
The big difference about that is that they're located in two different countries, separated by a river where there's not even a bridge. And so if you theoretically wanted to travel between these two temples, it would take, you have to go through passport control and then a ferry
Is it
and
a
all that.
fast-moving river?
Uh, I bet the Congo River is pretty fast. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that part, but I'm, here in Utah, we do all these temple to temple 5Ks. I'm
Uh,
envisioning the short distance triathlon. You start at one, you run to the river, you swim across the river, and then you bike to the temple. Come on. It's a marketing thing for the Brazzaville and Kinshasa temple. Let's go temple to temple. And they're like, listen, we don't got time for that.
it's a very large river. It's at least a mile width, if not more,
So a good
in this
swim.
area. So, but yeah, they also released the rendering of this temple. It is a design we've been seeing a lot. It looks a lot like the Fairbanks, Alaska temple, as well as the Oslo and the Taichung temple in Taiwan as well. But a little bit different. You have a nice sandy color. I'm sure if you zoomed up on the details, it'll be a little bit more African themed. So.
And then there that as we record this, it is on the 23rd of August, and there are three on that day. Is that right?
From when we talk, it will be tomorrow. And as we previously talked, there's going to be two other temple dedicated or groundbreakings on this, the Vancouver, Washington, and the Tampa, Florida temple.
Mhm.
So yeah, we've been having a lot of these triple groundbreaking days lately.
It seems like we should just do it every week. Like every week, it should be We're doing something for a temple. Let's go that way. Like this week it's a dedication, and next week it's a groundbreaking, and
It's
then we
pretty
do
close. It's getting
yeah,
there.
yeah. But three in a
Yeah.
day, I can't possibly pay attention to all of them.
Okay,
Uh,
well, we'll talk about them.
okay. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about construction updates. We're going to talk about lawsuit updates and temples that you went, wait, is that what is, huh? Where, who, why are they, or why? Just let us build a temple. We'll come back and talk about that in the second half of the Temple Ticker. Let me take just a moment to tell you all about bestdjinutah.com. That is the website where you can learn all about me. Oh, sure, you probably feel like you know me, but you know me in the cultural hall sense. I have a DJ company now, 6 of us strong. Great event hosts, MCs, and DJs that can be able to make whatever event you have coming up absolutely spectacular, and hope you will reach out to us. Now you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Richie, I don't live in Utah. Would you travel? Absolutely, I would travel. Would they travel? Absolutely, they would travel. Whatever your event is, doesn't have to be a wedding or a community event. We can do all sorts of things. I can teach you line dancing. I can dance with you. We can do partner dancing. We can do all kinds of things, but we can't do any of it if you don't hit me up. You can go to bestdjinutah.com. You can fill out the form to get more information or get a quote, and then I will get right back to you. Find out why I'm so busy and why sometimes we don't get episodes of the Cultural Hall. It's all because of bestdjinutah.com. Here in the second half of the Temple Ticker, we pick it right back up with construction updates of the Victoria, British Columbia Temple.
Yeah, for some reason the church has really dropped the ball on this because normally before they go to the city councils to get local approval for temples, they announce the site and the rendering publicly just to get ahead of it. But recently the church went to the town of Langford, which is a suburb of Victoria, British Columbia, and they basically want permission to build the temple. I think they need a zoning change to allow specifically religious buildings. Right now it's a commercial area. They have a presentation where they talk about, look, this area is permitted for restaurants and schools and everything, and those places would cause a lot more traffic than this temple. So please approve our temple because it's not going to be too much of an impact. And in that presentation, they have a rendering of the temple as well as the site. It is located on this road that's actually not even built yet. It's a future municipal roadway. Um, and it's just off the main highway. So I find it interesting that even though there's no current meeting house in this town, they're arguing that this place is very central to where our members live. Probably because on other parts of the island they'll be able to get here easily, as well as come from Victoria.
And it looks like, from the rendering, it looks like the Brazzaville, the Alaska, all the different, it's that rendering, or seemingly that rendering, right?
Certainly, yeah. This
Yep.
one's more of a kind of a granite color. Um, yeah, but pretty similar. I think this is kind of the new small design that they're going for right now. Some of them might be modular, I heard. Maybe the one in Africa might be. We'll see. But yeah, this is the new 10,000 square foot temple that's being used a lot.
The next story about the Salt Lake Temple and some of the updates around this, we talked about it a little bit in our most recent articles of news, but there is a little bit more about what's going on for the Salt Lake Temple, all in anticipation of the open house in 2027. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I listened to you this morning, you and Verlin talking about this. The Plaza Hotel across from the Temple Square will be demolished and replaced with a parking lot to facilitate the uh, guests for the Temple Open House in 2027. They're closing on November 1st. But this journalist found that there might be a snag because last year the Salt Lake City Council basically approved a zoning to this area that says that places in this downtown basically cannot be parking lots alone. They can have some surface parking, but you can't just replace it with a parking lot. And because already 1/3 of downtown is covered in parking, so they're really trying to, encourage development in this area instead of just place a parking lot that generates no tax dollars. What's interesting is that they're also demolishing this parking garage, which will, has hundreds of parking spaces, and yet they're going to their plans are to replace it with a parking lot which with no levels are just probably going to be, less than that. So it's interesting they don't keep the parking garage for that and use that for the temple open house.
Well, so speculation, and this is just 100% that this is something that will go forward. So the city council will get appealed, if that's how far it needs to get. But they plan the economic impact of the Salt Lake Temple open house in 2027 is something north of $300 million to the businesses in downtown Salt Lake between City Creek and the taxes and the restaurants and the people. And, you're essentially having a jazz game at the Delta Center every single day for 6 months,
For
literally
sure.
for 6 months, right?
Except Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but then you still have people that come down on Sunday for music and the spoken word, and you know that with all those people in town, because they're either doing the temple on Saturday or on Sunday, the concerts at the Assembly Hall, the concerts in the conference center, the music, all that will be amped up for that 6 months. So people will be down there, and you and I both know that we go out to dinner on Sunday if it's something church related. It's family time. Um,
Yeah. Unfortunately, that JB restaurant has been closed for a number of years.
I know.
That's
Yeah,
also being
such
taken out.
great bacon. But
Uh, mhm.
it will go forward. The church will demolish it. They'll put one of those ginormous tents. That will be the holding place. I'm not
Okay.
joking.
No,
That
yeah, yeah.
they'll make a bunch of parking there, and then it will also be like the makeshift, like before we go across the way to the temple grounds, that will be the place that will be the kind of holding to get people in, to keep people out of the elements. They will do that there. And then when the temple is rededicated, they'll buy West Temple and we'll put a fountain in on the other side and not allow people to kiss on West Temple. And then we'll have green space to the west. I don't know about the last part of that, but they will put the church is to the city's point, and the reason why they made that statute is there are lots of people that are landowners in downtown Salt Lake that are just holding land and not putting anything in their spaces because if they can hold it longer, they can sell it more and then, be able to profit more off of it. And there's no detriment to them doing that. They're trying to change it because that happens in some big cities like that. So um, the church will put something there. They're just going to say, guys, let us have a parking lot. We want to put a big tent. This is the plan that we're going to do this. And we promise by 2030, there will be this thing that will be there and it will be great. And it could be anything from a new hotel, a revamping of the Hotel Utah. I think that would be rad if the church, we own them all. Let's go into the
Build a
business
new
and
Hotel
build
Utah.
a new Hotel Utah. That'd be incredible.
That would be cool.
Anything, any sort of thing like that. Come on.
Yeah, and I think they'll definitely get their way. There'll be some sort of special permit for this
Yes.
because across the street is the downtown entertainment district redevelopment area,
Yep.
which they're going to build a lot of big buildings with hotels there.
Yep.
So even though they are losing these hotel rooms, these are some of the most affordable hotel rooms in downtown Salt Lake. They will be more ready for the Olympics for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think this area will probably be more like because it's right next to the Family History Center and the Church History Museum. I think it'll probably be this will kind of be like West Temple Square area,
Yeah.
and the parking lot will be after the open house will be used for something else. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
it's all
Of
part of the
course.
redevelopment area. So
Yes.
yeah.
Brother Smith, this is Ryan Smith of Qualtrics and all that stuff, who owns now a good portion. He's like, oh yeah, church, I'll see if I can buy just as much. They'll collaborate, they'll come up with a great thing, and ultimately it will be better for the citizens of Salt Lake. But in the meantime, let's complain. Let's complain that there's not more bacon at JB's.
Yeah.
Guam, is that where we head now?
Guam, yeah, this temple was dedicated a few years ago, but they are now getting a 9-unit patron housing development right next to the temple. So there'll be a 2-story, 15,000 square foot building next to the temple, which is larger than the temple itself, by the way.
Hmm.
And it looks like it will have about nine units. I think they said maybe 3 are for like permanent missionaries that are staying there, and the other ones are for people that would like to kind of dormitory style um, housing. So it is interesting that this wasn't included in the original temple plans because normally this does go in with the temple, but yeah, I think this is just kind of the needs there. So I think they're now getting to it.
Nice. Heber Valley.
Yeah, I can't remember if you talked about this before, but the judge dismissed the lawsuit against the Dark Skies community, and said that the county was in the right to approve this, and it's compatible with the general plan of the area, with the land use, and that the petitioners had not demonstrated that the land use actions were preempted or contrary to state or federal law. So it looks like it's going forward until, there might be an appeal to the Utah Supreme Court. So until then, it still seems like the church is holding off on construction. But I would think pretty soon it will start.
Hmm. This sort of slipped my mind, but the Nauvoo Temple Visitor Center, there is a visitor center that's not too far from the temple there in Nauvoo, but this is particularly for the Nauvoo Temple.
Yeah, the one that's there is just like the historic Nauvoo Visitor Center. It talks
Okay,
about the whole
okay.
place and probably mentions the temple. I think they currently have a cutout, one of those model cutouts of the temple.
Hmm.
But this will be one dedicated specifically for the temple. It was located kind of right in front. I can't remember if they demolished something, or I think it's right in front of the Catholic Church that's right next to the temple.
Okay.
And they'll have kind of some big windows looking over the temple. So the local news say that it will be ready by 2026 for visitors to enjoy.
That'll be just in time for us to join the cast of the 2027 Nauvoo British and pageants, right? Me and you, right? Dorm buddies soon.
I think you could do it, not me.
You could do it. You could
Do
do it.
if I don't have to sing, I could probably do it.
Yeah, I'm done. I'll sing for you. I'll sing twice as loud. You just have to say strawberry and move your lips so it looks like you're singing. Corey,
Okay.
please sing louder. Please sing louder. I'm singing loud. Okay, so that's 2026, and they'll likely dedicate that. I would imagine we'll make a big deal of that, and I would imagine what
Hmm.
in the probably around the time of the pageant in July in 26.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good bet.
Provo Rock Canyon.
Yeah, recently the temple got topped out, which means that the highest steel beam was placed. This is kind of a tradition where they get a pine tree and they put it on the steel beam and they put a flag there. So recently that's what happened in Provo. The temple is now at its full height. Well, I mean they'll put a steeple on it, but now this is kind of it's the symbolic finishing of the steel beams and everything. A few weeks ago I was on the top of Mount Timpanogos and you could very clearly see the temple there. It's very large.
Why do we put a pine tree? Do you know?
Um, I remember looking this up once, but I
I'm
can't.
going to look. So you're welcome to tell me about the next one and know that I am 75% paying attention.
Yeah. Um, Recently the Yorba Linda, California temple is approaching completion. They put the cornerstone on there that says 2026. So that probably means it'll be dedicated next year. So yeah, everyone in Southern California can look forward to that.
All right, here we go. The tradition of placing a pine tree on top of a building when it is topped out is rooted, pun intended, in ancient superstitions and rituals. It is believed to appease the tree dwelling spirits displaced during construction and ward off evil spirits. What in the world? The practice also symbolizes good luck, which is probably more likely why we do it. We're like, this is a pagan thing, and we're like, no, 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 it's the good luck part that we do. Continued growth for the building and its future occupants. In modern times, the tradition continues to celebrate the completion of vertical construction and is often a media event to keep up interest in the building and the company itself.
Oh
Okay.
wow, okay. If the first presidency knew about that, they may not be happy.
Yeah.
It's something that probably goes under the radar from
Yeah.
that because it's
This
just like
was the last time they did
what the
a.
contractor did.
Yeah.
For example, when I was on my mission, there was a steak, and the steak was formerly called the Cancun Culiacan steak. And I guess the first presidency like asked them like, what does Culiacan mean? And they said it was some Mayan god about fertility or whatever. And they said maybe we should have a different name. And so I wonder if they knew it was about superstitions about tree gods, then I wonder if that would be allowed or not.
What did they change it to? The name
Uh,
of the board,
they named it the Hacienda steak,
which means
which like a hacienda, that's
okay,
like kind of like a ranch,
okay.
like a Spanish ranch.
Boo,
Which I know
boring.
people were upset that
Yes.
they replaced the steak name with a Spanish word instead of the Mayan word. So
Yeah. We'd like to take anything interesting and just make. Can we call it the Cancun first? Can we call it the first? Yeah, geez.
well, actually, so I think what happened was that The Culiacan ward actually went to a different stake, so it was kind of confusing. They didn't want to keep that name for the stake
Mm.
if the ward was in another stake. So they were proposed to name it the Chakmul stake, which I think that god they didn't like either. So
Well, then we shouldn't have brought up the fact that they put a tree to appease the tree gods, the those that were displaced. It's cool. It's an interesting tradition, though. I didn't know we did that. Other traditions that we don't do. Cornerstone. Tell me about this. What is that? E-
Oh, I just told you about that.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be the Yorba Linda Temple will be complete in 2026.
So wait, what cornerstone? I thought we didn't do cornerstones anymore. Didn't we stop that?
We don't do the ceremony where we actually
Oh,
fill in the mortar.
mm,
We just stick the cornerstone there and have it all filled in.
boo.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Modesto.
Yeah, this temple also topped out recently. They installed a cupola on the top. And then also recently, next to the meeting house, there was a cafe, the Redwood Cafe, and the church acquired that, demolished it, and now is going to build a um, distribution center there to get your sleeveless garments.
There it is. Your tank tops and your slips. Kids these days don't even know what it was like to wear a one piece. In that conversation with Verlin, where we talked about the one piece garments, you ever worn a one piece? Probably not. You're too young.
No.
Yeah, they're they're the best.
Hmm.
From like shock value. If someone sees you wearing them, they go what in that, and then to know that for 100 years that's what people wore. But I'll tell you what, cold cold day, you just want to stay in bed. One piece garment is the way to go. I don't think you can even buy them anymore. You used to be able to get them special. That's how I got one, and I would always wear them the first night with my new companions on my mission. And so it would be like, all right, another time for bed. And most of the time you never wear clothes. You're just sort of wearing your garments in your apartment. And I'd have my one piecers on, and the elders would be like, "What in the world are you wearing?"
Okay.
So if I can track them down, if I can get you a tank top, I can get you a one piece.
Thank you.
Reluctant, thank you. Okay, Coeur d'Alene, we got two more. Let's get to it. Coeur
Yeah,
d'Alene.
just really fast. The
Yep.
local news story did a kind of profile of the church in northern Idaho, which has a temple announced but no site. And they just talked about how there's about 23,000 members over by Lewiston, Bonners Ferry, all the way this area. And in the last year, the church grew 5.33%,
Jeez.
which in Idaho, it only grew by 0.5%, and worldwide, it only grew by 3%. So it's kind of showing that, maybe something's happened here. Some people are moving here, people maybe are joining the church, and they just talk about Sunday services, family history, just serve initiatives. So, yeah.
Do they talk about the wacko beliefs of some of that Northern Idaho? Is that in that article? Do we have
Uh,
preppers and
it was a fluff
doomsayer
piece, so
members of the church?
they
No,
didn't
it's
do
fluff.
that.
Okay,
No.
okay. They're like, and don't drive down this road in Northern Idaho, Eastern Washington. All right. And then lastly, this is interesting. So on the notes, and you'll see this in the show notes, it's Nayefu, you said? The
Nyafu,
Tonga
yeah.
temple. And then all you did was local influencer. That's the link. Tell me someone being like, I love the temple.
Yeah, there's just this guy, Siaki Leone Satensi. He was on Facebook doing a live stream. He was over by the temple. It's going to be completed soon, and he joked that he doubted whether the church would actually let him inside.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is the second temple in Tonga. That's kind of the far northern island. It's right next to the church high school that's there, one of the few
Okay.
church high schools that's left in the world. And yeah.
And during the live stream, if you see it, he's like, I doubt they'll let me in. And then two elders came from the side and they're like, well, Siaki, if you would like to go in, we just need to talk about a few things and then take him off
Need
the
to
camera.
take a
No,
swimming
no.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to take a swim trip? I've never heard it referred to as that. Would you like to take a swim trip? And he's like, guys, I'll just go in during the open house. That's fine.
There you
That's
go.
So as we look to the rest of the year, so we know then all the temples that will be dedicated for the rest of this year, we pretty much know it's just an execution on the things that will be done in 2025, and we're just slated for a busy 2026
Yeah, and my count, there could be 20 temples decade, maybe even upwards to 25,
in
which would be
26.
one of the biggest years, um, definitely of the President Nelson era. Um, so basically, with these temples already being announced for 2026, we know that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So probably most likely 12 or sorry, I counted the wrong one. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 8 temple dedications in 2025. So if there's like 20, 25, and 26, that's picking up quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get to it. Don't forget, we're going to Elko before they dedicate it. I'm going to come and get you and just lay on the horn, and you'll be like, do we have to? Yes! Yes, we have to. Get in the car. Get in the car. It's too early. Too bad. Let's go. Get in the car. We're going to find the last remaining JBs and get some bacon. I don't think there's any more JBs. I think, yeah. Hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
That if you weren't able to listen this week, that you'll be able to listen next week.
And that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. If you have information about temples, buildings, anything that you think, oh man, Corey would love this, you can send us an email, contact@theculturalhall.com, and I will forward it along. Even if it's your own pictures. Hey, this is the temple this is the church house this is what I love. Contact@theculturalhall.com. In the meantime, go Tar Heels. Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
on the back row
of
the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really gotta go on the Cultural Hall show.